Welcome to Virginia Bakes. I'm Virginia. Today we are going to make I'm just checking my microphone because it had died and I was just charging it. Yeah, looks good. Okay, sorry. Today we're going to make a cinnamon roll cake. I saw this on King Arthur Flour. I think they just released it in the past month or so, and it looked so brilliant to me because I do love making cinnamon rolls, yeasted cinnamon rolls, where you make the dough, you let it rise, you roll it out, you fill it, you roll it, you shape it, all the good things. But sometimes there's just not enough time for that, especially around the holidays when there's so much going on. So I thought this was a great alternative, especially if maybe you aren't confident in your bread making skills yet, or you just don't have the time. I just thought this was such a great idea and a great recipe because I love, well, any time of year cinnamon rolls are nice, but for some reason, I really love having cinnamon rolls on Christmas morning. It's kind of a tradition, is it? It's not something we did as kids. Or did we use the canned kind? Or like Pillsbury kind? I think we did. But that's okay. Oh, hello, Corvus. How are you? Okay, so to get started, we are going to prepare our pan. So we have a, let's do that, switch to there. Okay, an 8-inch cake pan. No big deal. We are going to get some, a little bit of butter and use it to grease the inside. Oop, making noise. Going up the walls of the cake pan as well. You don't want the cake sticking to the side, especially with this kind of cinnamon roll filling that we swirl into the cake. It's got a lot of sugar, and if we don't grease the sides and any of that touches the side, then our cake is going to get stuck in there. So let's make sure we've got the sides. Then we're going to line it. Usually I have 8-inch cake liners already. Does that look? It's okay. That's fine. I've used them all and I did not find new ones yet. So I'm going to make them, and it's so easy to do. So I'm just folding and folding and folding like you would, when you were a kid and you made the snowflakes. That's probably enough right there. Okay, then we flip this over. Put the point at the middle-ish. Okay, and then kind of give that a little bit of a curve as we cut it. Then that should open up into a lovely circle. There's just, sorry that was loud. That was just the right size. And we press that in. The butter's going to hold it in place. And we're going to take a little more butter and grease the paper itself. And when I do this method with cakes, it's like a King Arthur method, I think. I mean, I'm sure they didn't. I don't know if they invented it or not, but it's very handy. I just never have trouble doing cakes to release. Now, the bundt cake, obviously, it's not something you could do. Line a bundt cake with paper. It would be very difficult. My sister's calling me. Hope I'm live streaming. Shall I talk to her? Oh, I'm live streaming. It's okay. Okay, bye. I always feel like Inspector Gadget when I use the phone function on the watch. Okay, that's good to go. Which I want to put a little, maybe I've got some extra in here. I'm gonna really make sure my sides are getting greased. We've got the thyme and we've got the butter. Yeah, this is going to be a quick one, and it's actually really great because you don't even need a mixer or anything. You can use a whisk, which I forgot to clean from when I made the other one. That's okay. We have other whisks. My TV has just decided to play some sort of music. You probably can't hear that, can you? Okay. Now for the topping. It's called topping, but this is really like the filling in my mind, like the cinnamon roll filling. We're going to need I've already measured it out because actually this is the other really convenient thing about this recipe is between the batter, the filling, and the greasing the pan, 1 stick of butter is all you need. Krishna, hi! How are you? Corvus is lurking. Thanks for the lurk. Okay, so we need 42 grams of softened butter. So this has been softening for some time. That there. To To that, we are going to add 53 grams of brown sugar. Have y'all ever seen these little things? It's a little like piece of terracotta clay. That one's from King Arthur, and it keeps your brown sugar from drying out and getting hardened. What did I say, 53 grams? 53 grams is a quarter cup packed, which you know how I feel about that. How packed is packed. Weighing it is just so much easier. And then 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And then at first you're just gonna stir gently to mix this up and not fling everything everywhere. Once we've got the paste, then we're really gonna every time we try to get it fluffy and fluffy, but aerated. We want it to be spreadable, like the batter will be, kind of the same consistency as the batter. Like this would be very hard to swirl into the batter, so we need to kind of keep going, maybe warm it a little until this is a thin, a smoother, fluffy consistency that is spreadable. Krishna, how's the family? Do you have your Christmas? Do y'all do Christmas? I've got to go get my Christmas decorations this afternoon. Get them up. I'm so embarrassed I don't have any Christmassy things right there. I did take down the pumpkins at least. Heaven forbid you have pumpkins up after Thanksgiving. You can see this is getting a little more liquidy but pliable. More of the consistency we're going to want to match the batter so we can swirl it in and get our cinnamon filling, cinnamon swirls into the cake. Okay, I'm good with that. Now onto the cake itself. I said I'm good with that and then I keep stirring. It's okay. I'm gonna set that aside. For the cake, let's get our bowl out, our one bowl. I'm gonna start with the dry ingredients this time. I'm gonna get a whisk. I totally forgot to get my other whisk. Baby whisk. It's kind of babyish. It's the baby to the mama whisk that I used earlier and did not clean. All right, we need 160 grams of all-purpose flour. Set that. One thing I will say about this recipe, and it can be both a good and a bad thing, is it makes, it's a 1-layer 8-inch cake. It's not huge. So depending on how many people you're trying to feed at a brunch or a Christmas breakfast, this would be good on Thanksgiving breakfast too. You need to make multitudes of several of these. My head is really low in that circle. Is this gonna help at all? It helps. Yeah. Okay. 99 grams of white sugar, just granulated sugar. I have not tweaked this recipe. I'm completely following along with King Arthur. This is a half a cup. That flour was 1 1/3 cup, 160 grams, and this is a half a cup of sugar, which is 99 grams. Okay. What's next? We need baking powder. 1 1/2 teaspoons. I'm just going to use a half teaspoon. 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then a half a teaspoon of salt. We're good, decorating for Christmas and watching your stream. By the way, we can't hear you clearly over the background music. Okay, let me do this. Is that better? I don't know why it was so high. Can you still hear the background music? Or are those levels better? Just let me know. Okay. Half a teaspoon of salt. Okay, then we're gonna whisk this together. These are all the dry ingredients. Whisk this together to sort of get that salt and baking powder spread around so they're not stuck in one clump. Then to this, I've already measured this stuff out. We're adding the 2/3 cup, it's 151 grams of yogurt. Plain. Full fat is best, but you could use a lower fat. And then not Greek. And I meant to look that up and understand why, but it's meant to not be, specifically they call it that it's not Greek yogurt. And then I've had this out for a little while so it comes to room temperature, because if it's too cold and you pour in the melted butter, that melted butter is going to start solidifying, and you're going to have butter chunks throughout, which, you know, not the worst thing ever. It's not it's not inedible. You can still work with it, but I'm just going to play it safe. Speaking of the egg, we need 1 large egg. And let's see here. Look at this. I'll use this to catch these. I'm just going to go directly into the bowl. I'm going to play it wild. It's just 1 egg. I don't see any shells, so we're good. Get this out of the way. Let's pour this thing. Yogurt and cinnamon rolls. Well, yogurt's common in like a coffee cakes and stuff. Those lovely kind of dense, but yet crummy coffee cakes of various and sundry kinds. In fact, I think it was last year, 2024, that the King Arthur recipe of the year was 12 coffee cake recipes, 1 for each month. And so you'll see a lot of them have either sour cream, which is common in pound cakes, or yogurt, or maybe even some buttermilk, that sort of thing. Special vessel for eggshells. Yeah, I've got a friend gave me those, and I like to use them whenever I possibly can. Okay, where are we at? The unsalted butter melted, and I also brought this to cool it down to a room temperature. Oh, that butter is really nice flavor. Okay. Then we're just gonna, with our little baby whisk, have I got everything? Vanilla. A whole tablespoon of vanilla. I think I'm almost forgetting something. I've been stocking up on vanilla for the holidays. I miss one of these days I will buy a new King Arthur pure vanilla, the big bottle, but it's like It's 140 bucks, I think. Just can't do it right now. That's okay. All right, flour, sugar, baking powder, table salt, plain yogurt, melted butter, 1 egg, vanilla. Okay, we're good to go. Yeah, it says whole milk or full fat yogurt is preferred for the most tender cake. Avoid Greek. I need to look up why we need to avoid Greek. And it said there's having some flour lumps is fine. I'm going to try to avoid stirring too much so that we don't run the risk of gluten strains all over the flour. That baby did fine. Okay. Our batter's done. That's it. We're done. Okay. Pan back out all the way. Okay. Scoop that into here. At this point in my live streaming experience, I have I'm gonna have so much baking done for Christmas Day. I have one of these done, and I'm gonna do this one and put it in the freezer. I've got a pound cake in the freezer. I've got carrot casserole in the freezer. I've got a pecan pie in the freezer, and it's gonna save me a lot of time on Christmas. I'm gonna bake some other things that maybe I don't normally bake. I did start making recently a chocolate cheesecake for Christmas with a chocolate cookie crust and a chocolate ganache on top. It's so good if you love chocolate. It's so chocolatey. Okay, so I smoothed that out as much as I could. I'm not being too fussy about it because once we add in that cinnamon filling, it's not going to make much of a difference. Speaking of which, let's give it a few more whisking, well not whiskings, but work it up a little more. You can see now, well maybe, that it's more the consistency of that batter now. Okay, so then we're just going to kind of dollop this around in the pan, not being too precious about it. I made this actually for the first time last week for Thanksgiving. No, my sister-in-law made this amazing French toast bake that her family does on Thanksgiving mornings. And we had Thanksgiving breakfast together. Then later in the day, throughout the day, we did all of our Thanksgiving cooking and baking and whatever. And then later in the day, had Thanksgiving dinner together. So this came later in the weekend. And I had to, because it's Denver, hold on. This is the reason I can't move to Denver, is you have to worry about the high altitude baking. Special, but oh, I didn't see that one. So it stresses me out. And then I was kind of like, you know what, I'm going to do this cinnamon roll cake for the live stream because I want to see how it is when I don't have to worry about high altitude adjustments. Which, if you do need to worry about high altitude adjustments where you are, King Arthur has a really great guide for what to do and what adjustments to make when you're making bread or cake or cookies or whatever. It's very handy and has yet to fail me, honestly, when I've gone to Denver and had to do baking over there in that high altitude. Now we're going to take a knife or a toothpick. I don't have a toothpick, Someone's knocking on the door. I'm gonna use that chopstick you made from the banana bread. Let me just. Okay, I think it was a delivery. There's no one there. I think they were just letting me know if something was delivered. Okay. This chopstick from the Nutella cake to kind of swirl this around. And it's going to be covered up by the cream cheese frosting. So I'm really not worried about making like some super pretty pattern. So we're just going to, you know, kind of make sure we've got some of the cinnamon filling in sort of all areas of the cake itself, so that everybody who gets a slice gets a good amount of this cinnamon filling, or topping. They're calling it a topping. I feel like this is better than the knife. There was just such the end of the butter knife collected so much of the filling in the batter. And this is leaving most of it in the pan. Okay, I think we're good. Right, kind of consistently spread around. All right, so then this is going to go into a 350 oven for 30 to 35 minutes. I did this one, you'll see in a moment. I did it 30 minutes and pulled it out and did it internal temperature, and you want it at between 200 and 205, and it passed 200, and I pulled it. So I'm going to set this aside and bake it later. Or I guess I could bake it now. No, I've got to go get Christmas supplies. Okay. Last part is the cream cheese frosting. I love a good cream cheese frosting. Okay, well, all we need for this is softened cream cheese. We're going to need 3 tablespoons of that. It's 113 grams. I'm at 3 ounces, not tablespoons. Like, really confused about what I was looking at. Like, I think this is 8. Is it an ounce a tablespoon? Yes, it is. So same thing. In my mind, I was thinking 3 tablespoons would be less than ounces. And so I was confused by the look of what that was. Anyways, no big deal. Okay, 108. I hate doing this with my fingers, but 111. No. Okay. Put that aside, clean my fingers off. Then powdered sugar, we need, where is it? 113 grams. Oh my gosh. Y'all, I mixed it up. It's 85 grams is 3 ounces. I read it backwards. So if that was, okay. We can do this. It's just simple math, right? I had 113 grams. I only need 85. So what's, for simple math, I'm going to use my calculator. I'm terrible at doing math in my head. Let's see, 113 minus 85 equals 28. I need to get 28 out of here. It's at 0, so I take it out until it's at negative 28. Is that right? Am I doing that right? Sorry, y'all. It's 14 out, 13 out, 23. Okay. Fixed. Good. Now for the 113 grams of powdered sugar. Right? 1 cup of powdered sugar is 113 grams. Nine, 8, 10, 11, 13. Okay. And we're going to gently stir this together so we don't fling pot of sugar everywhere. And then we'll kind of whip it up as much as we can and aerate it a bit. Krishna, do y'all do anything special for Christmas breakfast? The other thing our family does is a ham and cheese breakfast casserole. We've been doing it since as long as I can remember. I don't know where it came from. I don't really consider, I mean it does, you do bake it, but I don't really, it's kind of like the carrot casserole in which I'm like, I don't know if this really qualifies as baking as much as cooking, but the ham and cheese breakfast casserole is kind of the same thing in my mind, where it's really baking. Less more, I mean, cooking, more cooking than baking, even though it is baking in the oven. What other holiday traditions do you have? I like to make fudge. I make that fantasy fudge from the jet puffed marshmallow fluff jar. Although they don't print it on the back of the jar anymore. You have to go to their website to find it. You'd think I'd have it memorized. I think actually I did write it down on a card and put it in my little recipe box. But that's always a good one. We made some of that at Thanksgiving. Okay, now for the hard part. You could, I mean, could you get the mixer out and do this part? Sure. But if we're trying to keep it to a simple, boy, it's thick. Good thing I work out. Boy. You know what, I'm going to give my arm a break and we'll get the cake out of the pan and onto a plate, and then I'll do that a little more. Okay. Almost there, almost there. Now, I took a offset spatula and just kind of ran around the outside. You can see where there's the cinnamon sugar mixture did get onto the edges of the pan. And so that's fine. If that did happen, you just run a offset spatula or a butter knife around the edge just to loosen it. And then I like to sort of bounce the cake in there and make sure it's completely, you can see it's definitely popping up. So we should be good. And the paper stayed inside. It released beautifully. There's our thing. And so it's got these interesting divots because with that filling, it's not a batter. It doesn't have any kind of leavening or that's going to help it like rise with the cake. And it weighs down or sinks down into the cake batter, and the kind of cake comes up and around it. And that's what I've noticed. It was my second time, and that's happened both times. So I don't know that it will ever come out super flat, but it's okay because those divots are going to hold extra amounts of our cream cheese frosting. I gotta remember to take a thumbnail picture of this before I cut into it. I wouldn't forget. So let me read this. So we make a family dish called pepper pot with homemade bread. Savory sweet with goat, lamb, or turkey. Pepper pot, I'm gonna have to look into that. Homemade bread, like any specific kind? Alright, I'm gonna get a spatula to spread this out because I want to make sure I get all of it out of this bowl. I have one up here. No. On this one. And we're just going to, you'll want to let this cool for about 20 minutes before you put the frosting on. It can still be kind of warm, but if you do the frosting too soon, it's just going to kind of melt and go down into the cake, which that also sounds pretty nice, but no, we want to have a pretty layer of frosting on top. Okay. And all of it. Really. It smells like cinnamon in here. So it's so good. And then on the King Arthur site, they saved some of the cinnamon topping. I'll put a little note at the bottom. You could save some of the cinnamon topping and sort of swirl it into the cream cheese frosting as you put it on to make sort of a swirled cinnamon roll effect. I don't want to be too fussy. Maybe I'll try it one day, but right now I just want this dang cinnamon roll cake. Okay, and the thing I'm thinking is that the picture of this is not going to come out right because it's just going to look like white frosting on a cake. I think I do need to cut into it before I can take a picture. Let's see. And I always forget to get things out before the stream. I don't remember everything, sorry. Little plate. And a pretty fork. And my phone to take a picture. Stuff kind of out of the way. Hope y'all don't mind. Basic plate bread or rolls, Easter baking. Okay. I use a recipe that's similar to what my family makes. I want to try that sometime. You could come and be on the stream and show me how to make it. That would be fun. Okay. Well, that's what it's for. Okay. Let's do this. Let me take a picture first, just in case. Doing it for the thumbnail, sorry. Okay, then we'll cut a piece, put it on the plate and take a picture of that, if you don't mind, and then we'll try it, and then we're out. Next week, I will be camping with the family, so I will not be able to be live streaming. If I can, I might put together an older video that I never edited. Okay, let's see here. Look at this little picture. I'll put it back there. Maybe put that here somewhere. Oh. Huh. No pressure to get a picture real quick. No sense on that side. It's interesting because you can't really. I'll pick this up and show you on camera. Well, you can see the cake here. It's the cinnamon has not really, actually not sunk down into the lower levels of the cake. Okay, that's fine. That'll do. Or I just leave the cinnamon. Rum fruit cake. My granny used to make fruit cake when we were kids around the holidays and give it away. And then there's, I don't think I ever tried it because it didn't have chocolate in it, and it was also for gifts, so it wasn't really for us. But I feel like fruit cake has a bad rap of like being this thing that you give out at Christmas, like these mass-produced ones in stores in the pretty tins or whatever, and then nobody actually eats it. One day, I'm going to try to make a fruitcake from scratch and see how that goes. And maybe I'll put rum in mine. Okay, here we go. Error. YouTube is not responding. What does that mean? Am I still streaming? I think so. Oh my goodness, I can't tell. I don't know how to tell. We gave it. I must be because Christian's still responding. Okay, I'm just gonna assume we're still streaming. Okay, let's give it a try. Although I know what it's like because I had it last week and it's delicious. A lot of the cinnamon. It's not gonna focus. I'm just gonna take it back. Mmm. Mmm. Let's see if you can, if I can show you. See, in my mind, the cinnamon topping filling should, there's some idea that's kind of sunk down into it. But it's really pretty much stayed on the top. I mean, it's still there, you still get it whenever you bite. But I think part of me kind of wanted it to be this pretty swirl throughout, so that it looked more giant cinnamon roll-esque. It's West Indian brun, not the supermarket. Well, I would expect no less. All right, I guess one more bite just to make sure. Love it. That's it. It's a really fast one, obviously much faster than actual cinnamon rolls, less messy too. It's a great alternative if you just don't have the time to do full-on cinnamon rolls. If you do full cinnamon rolls, the King Arthur Flour Recipe of the Year for 2022 or 3 is their pillowy soft cinnamon rolls, and it uses a method, this Japanese method, which I'm not going to try to pronounce because I'm sure I'll get it wrong. Something like sangzong, where you make a paste of flour and water, I think milk, and cook it. And then you add that to the rest of the dough batter, or the dough mix, and it keeps, whatever the science is behind it, it keeps the rolls soft for days, like super, super soft. It's shocking, because usually, like, especially a roll that is, what is the not enhanced, not enchanted. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. It's bread dough that has like sugar and butter and other things in it other than water, flour, salt, and yeast. Enriched dough. Oh my goodness. Those go really hard in like a matter of a day, and then you have to maybe warm them up to get them back softened again. But these rolls that they came out with, the Recipe of the Year, stay soft for days. It's amazing. We're going to add it to our list to make one day. Yay! Yes, definitely. This is delicious. Coffee, I wish it's not, I try not to have coffee at this time of day, but it would be so good with a cup of coffee for breakfast. I'm going to have that tomorrow for breakfast with coffee. It would be delightful. Okay, that's it. Enriched, yeah. Thanks, Krista. I drew a complete blank there. Okay, thank you for joining me in the kitchen today. I will not be streaming next week because of the camping trip with the family. So the week after that, I'm going to do something. I've been eating some peppermint chocolate, like they're like Oreos dipped in chocolate with peppermint crumbles on top. I think the filling has a mintiness to it as well, but something, I do love chocolate and mint around Christmas, so I want to do something in that area. Maybe a bundt cake, maybe brownies, maybe cookie sandwiches. I've made cookie sandwiches before in peppermint chocolate form. So something along those lines. That'll be in 2 weeks, and then of course we'll be off for Christmas. And I think from here on out, I'm probably going to have to stick to every other week anyways. Just some real life stuff going on. Great job. Thanks, Corvus. Okay, so let's get out of here. Audio cut out for me. Oh no. Okay, well, we'll see what happens. Not much I can do about it now because we're done. I don't know that I could have done anything about it anyways. I need to learn more of the technical aspect of the live streaming. But anyways, let's get out here. Y'all have a happy holidays. I'll see you in 2 weeks for some sort of chocolate mint thing. thanks for joining me in the kitchen today. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing. Like the video if you don't mind. That would be a great help for me. Comments are always welcome. Love to know what your maybe some of your go-to Christmas baking recipes are, because I could use some ideas. Always love ideas. If nothing else, comment hashtag weigh your ingredients. Trying to get a movement going because I think it's super important. And it was on your end. Okay, that's good to know. So I'll stop worrying about it. And so let's get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll see you in a couple weeks. And thanks for joining me in the kitchen today. And I will see you next time. Bye, everybody. And where's the... that one.